I've put together a little yoga sequence that you can practice at home. Now, most of these poses have been derived from the Ashtanga practice, but I've also added a few extra exercises and stretch that will benefit those bodies that have trouble with the traditional poses and also issues like stiffness or lack of mobility in joints. Now, each of these poses have to be held for 5 breaths, but because I don't want to make this video too long, I have quickened some of the poses and will only stay there for a couple of breaths. And I hope you can do this every day or at least 5 or 6 times a week. So here we go. To begin with, breath in as you raise your arms. Breath out, you fall forward. Breath in, look up. Breath out, step back. Gently place your knees down. Point your toes and cat-cow the spine. Breathing in, breathing out. And then you push into downward dog. Stretching the spine, walking up. And then rounding the spine up, you come up to standing. You can repeat this Sun Salutation A 3 times. Sun Salutation B, which is a modified version. Breath in, you sit in a squat. Breath out, you fall forward. Breath in, you lift, look up. Breath out, you step back. Placing the knees down. Tuck the back toes and step the right foot up. Coming up into a high lunge or a warrior 1 position as you breathe in. Breath out, you step back, placing the knees down, cat-cow the spine, stepping up with the left leg, and coming up into warrior 1 on the left side, breathing in. Breath out, you step back, place your knees down, cat-cow the spine, downward dog, walking up, sitting into Utkatasana, and coming up to standing. Some standing poses. This one is Padangusthasana, Padahastasana. Breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out, hold the big toe. Stay here for 5 breaths. Breath in, breath out, place the hands under your feet and stay breathing here for 5 breaths. Breath in, look up, breath out, breath in and out. Bringing your hands to your chest, breathing in. On the breath out, you step to your right. You turn your right foot out. And on the breath out, you laterally slide to the right. Drop your right hand, looking up towards your left fingertips. You stay in this pose for 5 breaths. Coming up on the breath in, swiveling around on the breath out, reaching to the left side, drop the left hand, looking up to the right fingertips. You stay here for 5 breaths. You come up on the breath in, and you go into revolved triangle. Making sure that your hips are square. You reach with your left hand, bring the left hand on the outside of your right foot, and you twist to the right. You stay here for 5 breaths. And then coming up, you do revolved triangle on the other side. Reach, drop, lift, breathing. Stay here for 5 breaths. Make sure that you count your breaths and you have slow breaths. You come up and come to Samasthitihi or equal standing position. Parshvakonasana or side angle pose. Breath in. Breath out. Make a really wide stance. Turn the right foot and bend into the right knee. And then you bring the left arm in a diagonal, looking up towards the ceiling. You stay here for 5 breaths. Now here's where I modify the pose. You turn to face your right foot and you come into a low lunge position. Find your balance, tuck the back toes, and on the breath in, you lift your arms, feeling perfectly grounded, centered. You stay here for 5 breaths. Then you drop the right arm and lengthen through the left side of your body. Stay here for 5 breaths. You come back, lift the arms up and twisting. Stay here for 5 breaths. Place the left hand, shift the right foot out and twisting. Stay here for another 5 breaths. From here you come up and you go into a warrior 2 position. So you're in warrior 2 for another 5 breaths. Swiveling around and you do side angle for 5 breaths. Going into a low lunge position. 5 breaths in this position. And then lengthening through the right side of your body. Coming back into revolved position. 5 breaths here. Support yourself on your right hand. And 5 breaths here. Coming up. And you've got warrior for 5 breaths. And coming up to equal standing position. Breath in. We now do the Prasarita, 4 variations. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. So you stay here for 5 breaths. After your 5 breaths, bring your hands back onto your hips, coming up. Breathe in and breathe out there. Breathe in, look up. B variation, fold forward. And you stay here for 5 breaths. After your 5 breaths, you come up. And exhale there. Breath in, take the arms out. Breath out, bring them behind your back and interlace your hands. Folding forward. You stay here for 5 breaths. Coming up on the breath in. Breath out, hands on your hips. Breath in, look up. Breath out, fold forward, pick up your big toes. Breath in and breath out. Stay here for 5 breaths. Breath in, breath out, breath in, and coming back to standing. Breathing in, bring your hands to your heart. We're now going to do Parshvottanasana, intense side stretch. Breath out. Bring the hands either into prayer position or hold the opposite elbow, whichever is easier. And then you fold forward on the breath out. you stay here for 5 breaths. Breathing in, swiveling around, breath in, look up, breath out, fold forward. Once you finish your 5 breaths, you come up and you come to equal standing position or Samasthiti. We're going to do a balance now. Transfer the weight onto the left leg, bringing the right leg to about a 90-degree angle, making sure the pelvis does not tilt. Pelvis is upright. You stay here in this balance for 5 breaths. Once you've done your 5 breaths, you come back to standing. Left leg, bringing the left leg up to a 90-degree angle, making sure the pelvis is upright. You stay in your balance for 5 breaths. Once you've done your 5 breaths, you come to standing. Tree pose. Holding tree pose, making sure the hip doesn't stick out, standing up nice and tall. Once you've done your 5 breaths, you do tree pose on the other side. It's important that you keep your pelvis upright and your legs straight without rocking it. Shoulders back and down, your gaze is focused. And stay here for 5 breaths. Now we're going to go down to the floor to do some flow poses and some lying down poses. So breath in, raise the arms. Breath out, you go all the way down. Breath in, breath out. Now an option here for more mobility could be to spend some time doing a cat-cow of the spine. Or for a slightly harder variation, you can go from dog to plank and do it as many times as you need to. Coming down onto your knees, we'll go to the dolphin pose. So shoulders back and down, creating a tripod with your arms. You lift the tail up. And you're in dolphin for 5 breaths. Once you've done your 5 breaths, you come back down. And we're going to do some thoracic mobility. So breath in, come back down, breath out, breathing in and out. You mobilize your thoracic area. Once you've done a few sets of these, you lower yourself down to the floor. Point your toes. And this is a Pilates position called dart. So you roll the shoulders back, engage your glutes and abdominals, make sure your lower back is not hinged and not too arched. And you hold this position for 5 breaths. Then we're going to stretch the pectoral muscles. So take the right arm out, turn your body to the left, resting your head on the floor, you stay here for 5 breaths. Stretching through the front of your body. Come back. We repeat the dart, holding that position, really strengthening the back of the body. And you stretch the pecs on the other side, staying here for 5 breaths. Face down, we're going to push up and hold the plank position for as Making sure you're not dipping in through the center or the bottom is not raised in the air. Yeah. Once you've held that for maybe 5 to 10 breaths, we do a modified side plank. Shoulders back and down. Shoulder, hip and knee in line. You lift up and you look up towards the ceiling. Holding this position again for even a maximum of 10 to 15 breaths. This position is good for strength building. You come down and we do the same on the other side. Making sure your shoulder, your hip and your ankle are aligned. Lift up. Make sure your breathing is not, you should be able to count your breaths. And then slowly coming back down. From here, you can sit back in child's pose for a few breaths. And then you come up and we go into a Z sit position. Yeah. So making sure that you got roughly 90 degrees. Now you breathe in and on the breath out you fold forward. You're aiming to stretch your gluteal area. Stay here for 5 to 10 breaths. Coming up, we are now going to mobilize the internal rotators of the back hip. So about 5 to 10 rotation movements through the back hip. Make sure that the breathing is gentle, steady. Once you've done your Z sit, you work on Z sit on the other side. Stretching through the right gluteus. 5 to 10 breaths. Mobilizing the back hip for the same number of times as the other side. From here, you cat-cow the spine just to make sure that you're neutralizing it, ready for the next pose. You sit back into boat pose. You stay here for 5 breaths. You can repeat this 3 times. Going down to the floor. Bring the knees up, come up into a curl up, making sure your abdominals are engaged, and you stay here, 5 to 10 breaths. Slowly lowering down. Settle the body, settle the breath. Breath in, on the breath out, you curl the pelvis up into bridge. Breathe in on the top. Breathe out, lower the spine. You can do this bridging maybe 5 to 10 repetitions. Breath in at the bottom. Breath out to lift. Breathing in on the top. Breathing out to lower. Also doing a few pelvic tilts. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. Breath in to arch, creating space in the lumbar spine. Breath out. From here, we're just going to finish with some relaxing poses. So you can turn to one side and come up, or just rock up to sitting. Finding a bolster or a rolled up towel. Your lower back's on the floor, Your glutes are on the floor. If you feel like you need to put a towel under your head, go ahead and do so. And relax in this position for up to 2 to 3 minutes. The next relaxation pose that we are going to do is called Viparita Karini, but we're going to do it on the bolster. So rolling out of there, you sit on your bolster and have the legs up in the air, the lower back supported. Stay here for maybe 1 to 2 minutes. You finish up with a meditation, sitting with a tall spine, hands resting lightly on your knees, eyes open or eyes closed. You find the place of stillness and you breathe there.